Hi, everyone. My name is Nina Goradia. I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner on the non-dual path. If you haven't already seen my video on freeze, I'm going to link that here, how to come out of the chronic freeze response. I'm going to add a little bit in this video about what if I'm having trouble relaxing enough to be able to even tap into this. And here is the chart that I was using in that previous video, which I will briefly mention. We are going into sympathetic and parasympathetic settling and activation cycles here. We have a fight or flight response. We go into fight or flight, still feels like we can do something, but if we can't fight or flee, and if it's too much of a trauma, we go into the freeze response. Feels like I can't do anything. Shame, dissociation, disconnection, numbness, there's lots of things that we're experiencing in this state. So we're frozen, we're actually physically contracting muscles and tissues a lot of the time. Not always a large amount that we can perceive, sometimes it's very subtle. But when we want to come out of freeze, what we need to do is start relaxing slowly, but we might get some resistance because the body knows, hey, if I relax too much, then I'm gonna have to feel all these trapped fight or flee energies underneath, right? So it might not want to do that all at once if there's not enough capacity in the nervous system to be able to handle that. So what I mentioned in that previous freeze video is that you would just relax a little at a time, feel through the energies that are arising, you can kind of go back into it, titrate it, go in and out slowly, take your time, feel gradually what's arising for you. And then eventually you're going to be processing this where you can come back down here into ventral vagal. If you watch that previous video, you're going to get to see this slide on the screen, very easy to read, not like the way that I'm holding it up here. But I want to briefly show you this because what I want to talk about today is ways that you can get some of these tissues in the body to relax that can get you deeper into what's underneath. So there's a lot of ways that you can do this. So progressive muscle relaxation techniques, you may have heard of that, where we're taking muscles, we're squeezing them as hard as we can, maximizing the fatigue in the muscles so that you relax even deeper. So we might do that for 5 seconds, relax, and you can start from one part of your body, go up. Some people start from their feet, then the calves, then the thighs, pelvic floor, abdomen, arms, neck, face, you can kind of do all these things. And you do one at a time, hold it for 5 seconds, relax. So you could do both arms at a time, both legs at a time, but one set of muscle groups at a time. Relax, just breathe, look around. Feels amazing. I feel amazing just doing that one right now. I haven't done any others yet today. So, but when you do that, you relax deeper than what you were before. And there's lots of ways you can do this that can complement coming out of the freeze response. So massage, osteopathic manipulations, chiropractic, physical therapy, exercising. So all of these things, what they do is they prepare the muscles to be able to relax a little bit easier. And this is really important for especially people who are dissociated, having a hard time getting in their body and feeling some of the older traumas when we're doing a somatic experiencing session, or when they're trying to just think of something and see what comes up in their body. They're scanning their body. Did any emotion arise that I can then feel through, that I can clear? And so when we relax like this, we can get more awareness of the body, and a lot more comes up because we're simultaneously expanding our container and resourcing with these physical modalities. So I have a physical resourcing video here I'm going to link. But these are ways we expand our container for what we can handle. And that is going to come up, like our worst traumas are going to come up the larger the container we have. So if we're having trouble accessing something, resource yourself, get a good night's sleep, make sure you've eaten a good meal, make sure you're not too stressed, let yourself relax, give yourself something that makes you feel good, and then do the resourcing techniques. It's going to expand your container. And then furthermore, all these exercises or ways of tapping into the body to get it to relax a little bit is going to help you prepare the ground for these emotions to arise that are trapped underneath this contraction or freeze energy. So my teacher says that a liberated body is relaxed. And I love that because it's true. You don't see anyone who's like this and they're free. they're not free, right? They're scared. But when we're just relaxed and just calm, that feels like you're free. That looks like you're free too, you know? So when we keep on relaxing as much as we're able to, we're also relaxing that freeze response a bit so that we can feel through what's underneath it. Now, it's okay if you need to go into freeze. You got to do it intelligently when it is too much. So don't beat yourself up if you're going into freeze. But if you're doing it habitually because you don't realize you can just kind of relax when you have that kind of habitual response, right? Like many of us go through the day with our shoulders up here because we're tense, and you just start training yourself to relax it. Or same thing with our jaw. We could be clenching. You start training yourself to relax it. Now that's for freeze response. I have a different video here about the jaw being tight. And if it's a fight response, then you might want to go through and explore the tension. Same with this. Sometimes you want to explore and go further into it and then come out of it. See what the body wants to do. You want to facilitate what the body had in mind with this. Sometimes you don't know till you try both. So you can't really mess it up. Just don't force yourself to do something the body doesn't want to do. You can explore it a little bit. Oh, that doesn't feel right. Okay, no, I don't want to do that. You know, that's how you'll know. And so try these things when you are having these freeze responses come up. See how much you can relax, and then see if you need additional support, physical support, support with touch, support with maybe just self-hugging if you don't want somebody else to touch you, or just ask for a hug from someone if you are wanting touch externally. And these are going to help you get deeper into the body, into the traumas. I once worked with somebody who came out of an 8-hour course for osteopathic manipulations. And our session was right after this. And this person, I'd been working with this person already for a year before, but this session, after they had just come out of this, was like the biggest release they've ever had, and that I think I've ever seen somebody have in my career. So keep in mind that if you do this, you might bring up so much trauma at the same time that it feels like someone just died. Like, this was such an incredible amount that came through this person. And so, but see, they were already very emotionally in tune and aware of their body. So don't feel like you need to do this if you're one of these people like me, that I can feel everything that's happening in my body. I probably don't need, of course, not 8 hours worth, but I don't need to process a whole bunch of trauma at once. It's not necessary. But if you're someone who's feeling really dissociated and numb, and it's hard to feel your body and it's hard to get in your body, this could be for you. It's going to help you ground more. It's going to help you tap into that. And then it's going to sensitize you to being able to perceive these stored energies in your body. I hope this helps. This would be a fantastic adjunct to somatic experiencing. Oh, that reminds me. The best somatic experiencing session I've ever had in my life, ever, was after I did something called continuum movement. And I hope to get trained in this some point in the future, but it's a lot to explain, but it's a whole field where you're moving in certain ways to loosen up the tissues, the fascia inside that may be tight due to trauma. And I took a course, or I took a class by somebody who was teaching this, who was an SEP, a somatic experiencing practitioner. And so I booked a session with her right after the continuum movement class. And I went into bliss. In fact, I think that's the deepest bliss I've ever gone to in my life. And I had the biggest release I could imagine. I released so much because I was so open and all the tissues were relaxed, and I'd come out of whatever potential contraction or freeze response I'd been in such a deep way. I mean, an hour or two of this class. And then in SC, I felt like I wanted to punch. I was releasing resentment. And I just punched the air, and maybe she put her hand here, and I was just kind of doing like, just a little bit of this back and forth with her. So it felt like I was getting met, that the energy was getting met. And so much released. The whole rest of the day, I was just in bliss. My mind was calm, and I was just looking at the trees, and it was so peaceful and calm. And I attribute this to the continuum movement class. So that's another modality. And this could also be, dance or whatever you're doing to engage your body in this process. If you do that before a somatic experiencing session, I think you're in for a good result, very likely. Okay, I hope this helps. Please share if you've had an experience like this. I'm very interested. Okay, I'll see you next time.